Hello, welcome to the Cyotewolf here, back to another comic review video, I guess. The first one. This is a comic I drew a couple years ago. I finished it within the span of a year. Right? And this is the first finished Cyotewolf comic I have. I have a couple other ones, but I don't have them anymore. So one of them I don't show anymore, because it's in a sketchbook and I taped over it, and then the other one, it kind of got crumbled up. I guess there's another two, but those are way too cringy to show on here, now that I think about it. I am working on a new one. This is the cover of the new one. So I think you can definitely tell there's a little bit of style change here. I'll give you a sneak peek of the first page of the new one. This is what happens. Let's see, this one's based off of the original old one, the Cyotewolf comic, and his adventures, which doesn't make any sense. So he's just sleeping here. Alright, actually, you know what? Before I do continue further into this, I do want to mention that this comic and future comics I'm going to be making, like the Cyotewolf comics, because there's going to be a whole lot of those ones. You know, if I can get them done in reasonable time. I don't think I'll be working on comics for years and years. And then it's going to be the Cyotewolf path and the new path, which is something I'll explain another time. So let's get into it. This one's mainly inspired by Minecraft. Other ones get inspired by other things. So there's a who is it? You know, the mailman's knocking on the door. Then he's like, "You're not supposed to knock if it's just like a letter." And then he's like, "What?" And it's like the government just written him a letter, which is still what happens in the new comic. I realize that's kind of stupid, because he'd probably like pull up to his house and drive him somewhere, or at least how it happened in the movie. But that's still not what happens. So he gets coordinates, and then he goes into this cave, and then meets the next protagonist, Webby, and basically they go back together carrying this chest full of treasure, because it probably had some sort of artifact Cyotewolf could have probably pocketed. Right, and then 2 days later, they're given the money for it, and then he smells gasoline because they're trying to light a nether portal. The gasoline, because this guy's son is lost in nether, this is what the citizen people look like, extremely small and human. And then his son is trapped in the nether. I like this page because of all the red. I would not do this with a comic nowadays. I did not know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing. But still, right, so he kills the Scast here, and then he flies back down. And they bring him back to the overworld, because Minecraft is canon in this one. Right, and they basically, camera crews there. It's like 14, I think 13, no, 14. And there's 14 different beaches there, and then he's like, "Shut up, man, you're talking too much." And then we got the third protagonist here, because he killed the Ghast, who was his uncle, because he's a human Ghast. And then human Ghasts can be related to non-human Ghasts, which, if I think about it now, doesn't sound quite right. What time is it? Got a pork chop in the oven. And then he's like, "Who are you?" The Ghast. Not, "Who are you?" And he's like, "Who?" Alright, and then they basically became friends in like 6 panels. And then Cyotewolf hears trouble in the city, because he doesn't live in the city, apparently. We're deeper into the city, I guess. Then there's this kid, Max, and he's in a robot that he bought from another character, and then it's like, "Hey, you stop," and then he punches him straight in the... So he like rips out limbs from inside the robot, and then he punches him in the face, and he wakes up in a jail cell. And then his brother, Vex, comes in, right, and brings him home. He's like, "I brought your bike," which, how did he do that? Because I didn't even mean like a bicycle, I meant like a motorcycle. And then we meet Smith, which is his first name. I like this panel still. Basically, they're talking about, like, I'm pretty sure they're talking about committing more crime. And then his mom, that's his mom, their mom. And then they're just playing some game, and then Ant-Man. I don't know why that reminds me of Ant-Man. Then there's a phone call, it's for him, and it doesn't really matter. And then Max here is mad that he's grounded, so he just basically leaves on a thing called the Dragon Eye. I made a video a long time ago explaining it. If you're still watching up to this point, I greatly appreciate it. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and all that, because I never mention it in videos. But I'm gonna be making a video. I think this summer I'm gonna start making videos about the Cyotewolf universe, because this deserves a video in its own. But I guess you could get some of the sense of how it works in the comic. Like, you could probably get everything from the comic. So, like, yeah, see this? Fire Dragon Eye, I summon you, and then it comes to life. Then there's a dog. Then it smells of fire. It's a genius dog, because it just puts out a fire. You see this? It's intelligent enough to put out a fire. The hose. Cyotewolf's amazed by the cuteness of the dog. And then Cyotewolf's mad at Torch because Torch doesn't find the dog cute. I don't like his facial expression. Sorry, I hit the camera. A mistake. And then Max flies through the sky again. And then Cyotewolf is like, oh my god, no, there's a child with Dragon Eye. Because apparently they're like the most powerful object. In other comics, Cyotewolf has them. Like, it's supposed to be canon in this one as well that he has them. But it's not shown until later comics what his would actually look like. And it's no longer canon, Wolf Dragon Eyes, because I used to have fake elements of Dinosaur, Wolf, and Snake. So, some friends and me were making, like, our own elements of Pokemon types, and then those were mine. Anyway, basically, Cyotewolf gets a hold of them. Hold at him, he knocks him down after, there's a little fight scene here. And then Max and Smith come in on theirs, which aren't base elements, they're, like, Icicle and Vine. And then they just fly off. And this is a running gag through the comic, that is, specifically Webby's legs keep getting hit with vines. And then he attempts to shoot fire at him, and then it melts. So he, like, charges it into lava, which I'm not going to give him the ability to do that anymore, because I think that's all. I'm trying to make him less overpowered, like, he's still overpowered. Right, and then he accidentally hits a building, and they're yelling at him for it. And then for, like, this, like this page, and the next page, two of my friends' characters appear, and then they never come back. This is Blair Moonlight. I'm going to put her channel in the description. And then this is Carl Goat. He doesn't really upload anything, so I'm not going to link it. I don't really need to link either of them. I'm pretty sure I've linked them before. I think you guys know. He's like, and then they're like, why'd you miss? He's like, I just did, you know. And then Blair helps out, defeating him. You can go ahead and read that. Like, they just get him. And then here it's like, oh, haha, yeah, you hit me with fire, I'm a fire elemental. And she's like, oh, is that so? You know. She hits him with water. And then I don't like that panel right there, that's bad. This is the art style change. This is around where my art style started to change. You know, I said, like, a little bit here, you know, like, I don't want to go back to my old style. Like, a tiny bit, and then I decided, no, I'm going to go back to my new style, and I do like it a lot more. I hadn't never made him go to the side before. And then we meet Dr. Sparks, who is a reoccurring character. In the new, all of these characters reoccur except for the mother and my friend's characters. Well, you know what, I'm not completely sure about that, because I don't, a lot of this stuff, a lot of it's different. the story is based off of this one's, right? But it's massively different. Alright, so it's like a month later they get out, and then I don't like this here, there. And then they basically go rob into this place because they're going to clone Cyotewolf, right? And then he knocks out the camera, the alarm, and then they find this thing called a villain orb, which is what they need to clone Cyotewolf. And then they put it into this machine, and then we find out that he has a second one that's a magma dragon eye, right? And then he flies off. We meet Cyotewolf and all them here, seeing the city get destroyed again, which is literally just a distraction. And oh my god, I just realized I did not color them in. Their skin's supposed to be gray. I'm not sure if you've noticed or not, but their skin is gray. And also, I didn't mention this before. I'm gonna put that down for a minute here. The thing about like siblings being one element for like different from another is gonna be like I haven't had a name for it yet, but like that occurrence is gonna have a name in the later comics. Like it's not a typical thing that happens, and then we get it twice, right? So there's one time with Max, Vex, and Smith, and then Wolf characters later on. I just spilled water. Oh well. And then just a fight ensues. I'm gonna hover over it. I don't really want to talk. They're just fighting, getting ready to fight. Well, they just tie him up, and then he lines him up. I think they were asking him where he's going. And then, the second time that happened. I actually liked during that. And then they go to the Nether, and then Max has found a place where he can work at, and where we meet the Nether Dragon, which is still a canon character that's going to appear in the comic. This scene here, I'm going to hover over it here so you can read it. Most of this page is going to go into the comic. Probably later in the comic. I am not very good at pacing it. I'm trying to put most of this story into the new one, which could be easy, could be hard. Because so far, it's like, to get it, like, to page, like, I guess, 3 or 4, it's already, I don't know, it's going, so far, it's going a little faster than it should be. And then they hear a roar, because they're in the Nether as well. And basically, they go up into the roof, like the ceiling, and hide. And then they break into the building, and then there's a pigman there, because, they just move towards the fortress, because their thing is a modified fortress. And then they have a fight with the pigman really quick. Cyotewolf kills it. Like a plasma side. He doesn't have plasma powers anymore. That's what this page is showing. So he gets the Nether Dragon Eyes, which is the final bit of the plan. I'm going to talk more about that here in a minute. And then he punch cards out, and then some of these frames I haven't colored in completely, and then we see it here. I'm going to pause over that, because they basically I think they just decide to go looking for him, because they saw him in the night sky. And then, so they decide, I think they're talking here. I'm actually not quite sure what they're talking about in this comic. I actually like this hairstyle a lot better. That one best. I don't remember what's going on here. What are they doing? I think they're just having a quick chat that they did finally get the Dragon Eye, and then they're gonna go look for their brother Flint. And then they go back into the city. Does it explain that? And then it says in the overworld, right? So that's not how you do that. And then they summon their Dragon Eyes. Dragon Eyes being the fusion of 3 of them within one element. They can't cross element. The Ice Flake Dragon Eye, the Nether Crystal Dragon Eye, and then the Birch Forest Dragon Eye. and then that's like a select combination. And then the third time that happens, and then basically there's this big battle ensues. Cyotewolf goes into the forest looking for Max, and then he gets tractor beamed in, and gets cloned here, as you can see the particles change. And then we see the clone of Cyotewolf, Dark Cyotewolf, and they chat a little bit. Right. Then we see that the battle, the city is a little destroyed. And then we get like a quick fight. Cyotewolf turns super, and he fights them a little bit, mainly only using his firepower. Because it's really, Dark Cyotewolf is riding with Smith, so there's no point in doing otherwise. Because he's a grass elemental, and then the dragon catches fire, and then he turns hyper, which is way too fast. Cyotewolf can't. Alright, and then he knocks them down. He goes on to the other one, and then I ran out of paper. I had to select amount of paper, so and then Cyotewolf the plot twist, which I never made. So I kind of like I still kind of like the comic. I don't like the art in it, and then if I like read it like normally, if I read it normally, it does. The story's still a little too fast, which is why I like the new one a little better, because I'm trying to make this story go a little more smoothly. It is kind of a little fast still. Like, I'm gonna read to you what happens, but you're not gonna see the art here. Right, so Cyotewolf goes to the door and then looks at the mail. And then he looks into the mail and it says he gets a letter, I guess. We don't see the letter. And then his girlfriend Lilac wakes up. That's how much wrong. Then he says that they get I changed a lot of the story. So in the original story it was the Nether. In the new one it says they're going to the magma region. Volcanic magma region. The volcanic region that's in Mexico. And then he says he's going to explain it later. And then there go that like direct minute. But Lilac is still kind of concerned on why they're going. And then it's because they need a crystal. And then I'm going to show you one little frame because I like it in Mexico. I don't know why, I just like that frame. And that's what I have so far. That's over the span of 4 pages. Oh yeah, that's right. I also had started the next page. I forgot completely. And so far, it looks pretty good so far. So that's all I have with the... So that's what happened so far in the comic. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I'm not sure if you watched all the way through. And if you did, I do very much appreciate it. Goodbye.